It's an ambush.
Oh my God, it's an ambush!
It's an ambush!
Of course!
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a ambush stream. Because stuff has just happened. Like within the last 20 minutes or something. As you may know, or may not know, bits and pieces in various ways, both about immigration and otherwise. I've been looking at the rapid downfall of Mayor Eric Adams' administration in New York the last couple of weeks because it's just been going so fast and crumbling so quickly. And then all of a sudden, last night, he was indicted federally. And everyone was like, for what? For what? And if you've been following the articles, I've been reading them the last couple of Sunday streams, you know that there's been suspicions, or at least allegations, that he and his mayoral campaign from several years ago were accepting donations, funding in some fashion, from foreign countries. And that potentially that indicated not only federal election campaign finance laws, but also might indicate some kind of corruption, some kind of pay-for-play, quid pro quo, or violation of the Foreign Registered Agents Act and other such things. But we'll get into that momentarily with this breaking news! Breaking news! But who's joining me on this completely unplanned, unannounced, and otherwise ambush stream? Funtime Bats, good morning. The Best Remy, good morning. Kiro Soldier, good morning. Mike Savage, Blarg. Attack Alpaca, good morning. Advocatus Diaboli, good morning. Robert Pincus, good morning to you. Pinkal the Driving Ape Man, good morning. Noah Alexander Asensio, good morning. Avshara Grastus. Avshara Grastus, did I get that right? Let me know. I always want to make sure I attempt as best I can to say people's names correctly. MH Baker, good morning to you. And for anybody else who is joining late or lurking or in the future, good morning. Yes, so Eric Adams, mayor of New York, the indictment against him has been unsealed. The specific charges have been listed. We're going to go over them in a moment. But first, Ana Lynn, good morning, and Manolo Rivera, good morning to you. Wait, Manolo Rivera. Wait a second. I recognize that name in relation to that avatar. Manny. Oh, poor Manny. What a tragic character. And El Vaquero 555, good morning. Did great. Avshara. Avshara? Avshara. Okay. Well, welcome to the show. All right, let's go over this. This is breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news published at 10:38 a.m. Eastern Time, which is just like, 20 minutes ago. The indictment against New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been unsealed. The indictment totals 57 pages. And you're not listing the CNN. This is, you're not, okay, the charges were listed other places. CNN, you have, oh my gosh, why haven't you listed the charges? Now I gotta go find somebody else. CNN, you betrayed me. I thought you'd list the charges. That was just an update. Oh man, I apologize. Well, let me refresh here. Maybe they've updated it since then. Have they? Yes. Okay, well, good. They've updated it a little bit. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted on 5 federal charges related to bribery, wire fraud, and soliciting campaign contributions from foreign nationals, according to a 57-page indictment unsealed Thursday morning. He is facing 1 charge each of bribery and conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and 2 charges relating to receiving campaign contributions from foreign nationals. He is also charged with wire fraud. CNN is reading through the indictment and will update with detailed information on the charges. All right, well, I'll refresh again in a couple of minutes, but let's go over the story in general. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted on at least 1 federal criminal charge. Multiple sources familiar with the matter, trademark TM, registered trademark, told CNN, and on Thursday morning, investigators executed a search warrant at his home. Another one. Okay, well, actually, no, I think they seized his phone last year. So doing a search warrant on his home this morning, I think, is a new thing. The charges have not been made clear. Again, this is from several minutes ago. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, is set to discuss the indictment at a news conference at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Well, that means in about half an hour from now. I don't think I can carry that live, but it'd be fun if I could. The indictment follows a months-long federal investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, reportedly scrutinizing his connection to Turkish officials and businessmen and campaign donations he received. One story that I heard, and I don't know if it's in this article or not, is that, and again, this is just rumor, I don't know if it's all accurate, but apparently at one point the Turkish government wanted to build a consulate building in New York City. But the building they selected, or the way in which they had it constructed or something, was not up to code. And they would have to pay a whole bunch of extra money to bring it up to code, or face fines or something like that. And purportedly, allegedly, the Turkish government called their favorite friend in the mayor's office, the mayor, and said, help us out here. And allegedly, I'll keep saying allegedly, the mayor put pressure on either the city fire department or whoever was in charge of inspections to let these concerns slide on behalf of the Turkish government. Now, whether or not that's true or accurate, I don't know, but that's one story I heard. I guess we'll see. Let's see. The New York Times was the first to report the news of the indictment on Wednesday night. Adams has previously denied any wrongdoing, and he has repeated that he told members of his campaign and administration to follow the law. Maybe a bit too late. In a video statement Wednesday night, Adams was defiant and said the charges, quote, will be entirely false based on lies, unquote. Quote, I always knew that if I stood my ground for New Yorkers, that I would be a target. And a target I became, he said. If I am charged, I am innocent, and I will fight this with every ounce of my strength and spirit. Now, as I understand it, this implies Mayor Adams' sudden defiance or resistance to the influx of asylum seekers / illegal immigrants into New York over the last year or so, and his rather strident statements last September, I think it was, thereabouts, wherein he said that if this pattern continues, it will destroy New York, as in the influx of asylum seekers taking up so many social services and space and housing and a whole bunch of other things. Now, Ranting Monkey, my friend Ranting Monkey, has said that the timing of this indictment is interesting. And he seems to think that it was because of Mayor Adams turning tail on the usual script regarding democratic jurisdictions accepting and being very supportive of the idea of asylum seekers coming into our country and so on, that is why he was targeted. Except that, well, I mean, that's one theory, a political theory, but it seems as though many of these indictments, many of these investigations, both about Adams and the members in his surrounding inner circle, go back many, 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 many years. So, I mean, it's possible that the focus on these things ramped up because Adams was not playing along anymore or something, but that might be a bit too far afield. I suppose we may find out as time goes on. The indictment represents a dramatic fall from grace for the mayor of America's largest city and a stunning accusation against one of the nation's most high-profile offices. Adams, a former NYPD captain, took office in January of 2022 and presented himself as the new face of the Democratic Party, promising a tough-on-crime approach, and a commitment to revitalizing the city after the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet he has struggled to resolve the city's key challenges, such as the migrant crisis and concerns about subway safety, and he has faced criticism for his late-night partying and clashes over city spending, particularly on education. And particularly on education is also interesting given the controversy surrounding his school's chancellor over the last couple of weeks, but that's another story. He once described himself as, quote, the Biden of Brooklyn, unquote. That doesn't age well, does it? Just like Biden. But he has increasingly criticized the Biden administration and the federal government over its handling of immigration issues. And again, that's the seed of the conspiracy theory here. I guess the problem for Adams is that he hasn't been a very successful mayor, and now everyone around him in his inner circle, personal friends, family members, etc., are all being indicted or investigated or have resigned. I don't see how he can maintain the office. Whether he's guilty or not of the charges, his ability to actually do his job at this point, with so much controversy, so many of his subordinates being either brought up on charges, investigated, or resigning, or whatever, I don't know if it's feasible for him to still stay mayor, even if the charges end up being completely spurious. I mean, maybe that's so, I don't know. Now, nearly 3 years into his first term, Adams is facing at least one federal charge, well, at least 5 as listed above, that jeopardizes his ability to remain in office and threatens his political career. The indictment could also play a role in the coming election, as control of the U.S. House of Representatives could come down to several close New York races. Adams was at Gracie Mansion when word of the indictment broke Wednesday night. Adams had not been formally informed of the indictment when the news broke, multiple sources told CNN. So Adams learned about his own indictment from the news? That sucks. In the immediate, the mayor is expected to have several days to turn himself in, according to sources familiar with the case. He's not expected to appear in court Thursday. Prosecutors previously informed his attorneys that if charged, he would be summoned to surrender at a future date. Multiple sources told CNN. On Thursday morning, federal investigators went to Gracie Mansion, the mayor's official residence, and are believed to have executed a search warrant and served the mayor with a summons, according to a law enforcement official. They spent more than 3 hours inside, according to a source. Adams remains huddled with his legal team and a senior aide at Gracie Mansion, the source said. I also heard somewhere that his phone was seized for the second time. It was seized last November, I think it was. First time, as he was coming out of an event. I heard somewhere that it was seized again this morning, but we'll see. Alex Spiro, a lawyer for Adams, criticized the search, saying it was, quote, an effort to create a spectacle and take the mayor's phone, when he would have happily turned it in, unquote. Well, sometimes you got to be sure. If you give them a heads up, it's like, hey, we're going to come take your phone. That could give someone the opportunity to destroy evidence. So I can't fault the authorities for that one. Quote, he has not been arrested and looks forward to his day in court, Spiro said. When asked on Tuesday if he was considering resigning, Adams said, quote, I'm stepping up, not stepping down, unquote. Even so, several prominent New York political figures, including U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, have already called for his resignation. Lawyers for Adams met with senior officials of the Justice Department last week in a bid to stave off federal criminal charges. Multiple sources familiar with the meeting told CNN. The meeting between Adams lawyers Boyd Johnson and Brendan McGuire came after they met with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan and were told prosecutors planned to seek an indictment of the mayor, the sources said. Prosecutors in Washington informed the mayor's attorneys that their appeal was denied, the sources said. The U.S. Attorney's Office is conducting the investigation, but because Adams is a sitting politician, the Justice Department would be involved in any decision to file charges. Former U.S. Senator Bob Menendez was also allowed to surrender and be arraigned on bribery and corruption charges several days after prosecutors announced a grand jury returned an indictment charging the then-sitting senator last year. The charges were announced on a Friday, and he was arraigned the following Wednesday. The mayor's legal troubles began last year, but escalated earlier this month when top members of his staff at City Hall, including 2 deputy mayors, a senior advisor, and the school's chancellor, received search warrants and had their phones seized by federal investigators. The first sign of trouble for Adams came in November of 2023 when federal investigators zeroed in on his chief campaign fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, and executed a search warrant at her home, multiple law enforcement officials previously told CNN. Suggs has not been charged with any crimes. Yet. Investigators from the FBI's Public Corruption Squad seized phones, computers, tablets, and files from Suggs, according to sources. Yeah, Suggs has not been charged with any crimes, maybe because she rolled on the mayor. It's just a possibility. Agents also executed numerous search warrants at other homes and businesses throughout the New York area in connection with the investigation, officials said. One of the companies searched in November of 2023 was KSK Construction Group in Brooklyn, law enforcement officials said. The construction and development company has built apartments and condos throughout the city. A CNN review of campaign finance records identifies at least 11 employees at KSK Construction Group who donated a total of $13,950, with individual contributions ranging from $1,200 to $1,500, all on the same day, to Adams' 2021 mayoral campaign. CNN has reached out to the donors for comment. CNN has also reached out to Erden Arkan, who is listed as the owner of KSA Construction Group and is also listed as a donor to the Adams campaign. New York City campaign finance records show Arkan donated $1,500. Erden Arkan. Not to be stereotypical, that sounds maybe possibly Turkish, as the accusations are levied. As part of their investigation, FBI agents seized Adams' cell phones days after the raid on Suggs' home. Remember, this is back in November of 2023. After Adams gave a speech in Manhattan, FBI agents, quote, walked right up to him, unquote, asked his NYPD security detail to step aside, and then climbed into Adams' city-issued SUV, sources previously told CNN. There, agents presented him with a warrant to seize his electronic devices. So they just kind of busted in, climbed in his car, give me your phone. Again, when it comes to like seizing electronic devices, you want to do it and you want to announce it when you're right in front of them. Otherwise, that gives them the opportunity, potentially, to destroy evidence or try to cloud things up. So that's what you do. The seizure marked a dramatic escalation of the federal probe into whether foreign money was funneled into his campaign, bringing the investigation directly to the Democratic mayor. Adams has maintained his innocence throughout and insisted that he and his staff have followed the law despite the mounting investigation. The investigations accelerated earlier this month. Edward Caban, the New York Police Department commissioner, had his phone seized as part of a separate federal investigation and was forced to resign. Days later, Lisa Zornberg, City Hall's top lawyer and one of Adams' staunchest defenders, abruptly resigned. In a brief 2-sentence resignation letter, Zornberg stated that she had concluded she could, quote, no longer serve effectively, unquote, in her position. A week later, school's chancellor David Banks' home was searched by federal investigators who seized his cell phones during the execution of a search warrant. He then announced he would retire from his position, leading the nation's largest public school system, at the end of the year. The mayor has touted his ties to the city's Turkish-American community and said he has visited the country at least 6 or 7 times. Adams traveled to Turkey at least twice as Brooklyn borough president. The Turkish consulate paid for an August 2015 trip, during which he signed a sister city agreement with Istanbul's Üsküdar district. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Adams is not required to step down in light of the indictment, although the political pressure may become untenable. If he were to resign, the job of America's most high-profile mayor would go to the city's public advocate, Jumaine Williams, until a special election occurred. They didn't even mention that the replacement for the police commissioner is also stepping down. They didn't talk about the twin brother of the school's chancellor running a construction company or something that was giving each other contracts and things. There's a lot going on here. Have they updated it any more since then? No. All right, so there you go, guys. So far, in summary terms, he is facing charges related to bribery, wire fraud, and soliciting campaign contributions from foreign nationals, in particular Turkey, but other countries that have been mentioned have also been South Korea, Israel, and Uzbekistan, I think the other ones were. There might have been one other in there that I've forgotten. But, yeah. So, chaos. Uh-oh. NYC Mayor Eric Adams speaks after indictment. Uh-oh. Is this something I can watch? Probably not. You know what? I don't want to risk it. CNN will zap me. I know it. CNN will zap me if I try. So he's speaking right now. Who knows what he's saying? I'm sure it's something really exciting. He might be resigning. That'd be something. Let's see. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Let's see if I can pipe it into myself, if nothing else. Oh, man. If I can find out, I will relay it to you. I'll see if CNN will allow me to listen to it. Because I think trying to rebroadcast it would probably get me in trouble. I have to sit through an ad. Ancestry.com. I don't care about Ancestry.com. I know where I come from. The moon! I come from the moon. And I have to sit through the whole thing. I can't skip it. Oh, man. CNN's worse than YouTube. At least YouTube lets you skip the 17 ads they pump up in front of you. Oh, man. Come on. I don't care. It's a bunch of dead people that I've got nothing to do with. Unless it's like medical history, I suppose. But even then. All right. Move on. Okay. I will continue to do the job despite federal indictment. Okay. So he's basically just restating what he said last night. As in, he's not going to back down. He's not going to resign. I mean, if only he had been doing the job effectively up to this point, then maybe there'd be some argument, but there isn't. And he's already done speaking. So, yeah, he's done. And then we have some other representatives of organizations or whatever speaking. Everybody's smiling. Well, Adams is smiling. Everybody else is pretty grim around him. It's actually kind of a contrast. He's got a big smile on his face, and every single person standing behind him is all grim. Anyway, so there you go. Eric Adams, defiant in the face of federal indictments. Now, I'll take a look at what you guys have to say, and then I'll probably wrap things up pretty quick, because that was all the news I had. Plus, I have a TED Excellence tonight. El Vaquero, whether or not he did what they're accusing him of, they're only going after him because he started questioning D.C.'s immigration policy. Well, that's the theory going around. But at least in the case of his interim police commissioner, when they started investigating him, they were looking into records going back 20 some odd years. So some of the surrounding investigations far predate anything dealing with Adams either being mayor or the immigration crisis that we're dealing with now. Now, again, whether or not these are all just sort of collateral rollover, oh, we just found this out kind of thing, who knows? I'm not quite sure what the political advantage is in dunking on one of the most democratic cities in the country, and also risking the collateral damage from such a scandal to Democratic politicians running for office, both in the near future and otherwise. I don't see how that benefits anyone if you're talking about we're doing this because he got off book with the asylum thing. Maybe I'm not seeing the 4D chess element of this, but if somebody else has a theory on that, I'd be curious to hear it. Afshara, timing of the release and that the charges were brought to go along with his calling out the invasion. Well, he was saying that stuff last year. This will destroy New York was something he said last September, so a year ago. So the timing of this right before the election, I don't know. I need somebody to explain to me what the theory is on who is this giving an advantage to by doing it now. Because if you've got a democratically led Department of Justice zapping a Democratic mayor of one of the biggest Democratic strongholds in the country, at least city-wise, and then showing that the entire administration, or at least implying, accusing, investigating the entire administration of one of the biggest cities in the country of being wholly corrupt in one way or another, who is that supposed to benefit? I'd love to know, unless they're just like playing the long game and trying to make everybody see this as an example of what happens to you if you don't stay on the same page. I think it does more damage to them in the long run than it does benefit them on the issue of asylum seeking. Because honestly, I haven't heard, or at least not much has been talked about, the asylum situation in New York or Chicago or Denver this cycle as much as it was last year. That seems to have died down a bit, so I don't know. I need somebody to explain that to me. El Vaquero says, it's not 4D chess. The DNC is in a panic, and panic people do stupid things. That's possible, but I'd love to hear gaming out of the logic, even in a panicked logic. Because, again, this is not a knee-jerk reaction kind of things. Federal investigations take months and time, and they can be turned down if needs be. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. Mike Savage says, maybe the Dems are trying the law and order route for election kudos? I mean, maybe? I mean, I've heard all sorts of things like, oh, this is to take Trump out of the headlines. This is to show the DOJ is not corrupt because we're going to go after one of our own in trying to fight against the notion that they are just targeted against conservative or Republican interests. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to read the tea leaves on this one. Let's see. Anybody else? Just another guy. The investigation did start apparently a year ago, Scribe, so there is that issue. Yeah, well, I mean, the first indications that something started was in November of 2023. Adams made his most dramatic statement about the immigration crisis in September of 2023 when he said, and again, I'm paraphrasing only slightly, that if this continues, it will destroy New York City. So if the theory is that him coming out publicly and loudly against the immigration policy or the sending people to other cities to take care of them policy, if that was supposed to be the initiating action or event that caused him to gain attention from the DOJ, then I suppose the timing makes sense or works. But again, he was purportedly taking campaign donations from these foreign entities way back in 2021. So I don't know. I guess it would depend on when did the investigations actually begin. Did they begin after September of 2023, or did they just become more active and unavoidably public in November of 2023 when they served the search warrant on Brianna Suggs' home? Because there's usually quite a bit of lead up to taking an action like that. And I suppose we'll find out over time, maybe, what the timeline of events was. I'd be surprised if they cooked up an investigation within a month's time, unless I guess they were sitting on it to pull the trigger at some point. I don't know. There's a lot of ways this could have gone. I'm still humored by the fact that he called himself the Biden of Brooklyn. Aged like milk, that one did. But anyway, everybody, that's all I have right now. Just want to give a quick update on a story that I find very interesting and that bits and pieces I've been following on the Sunday stream the last couple of weeks. There'll probably be more to talk about on this Sunday stream. And the Sunday stream starts at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on this channel on Sunday. And also tonight, if you don't already know, again, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, TED Excellence. And what do we have on deck for TED Excellence today? Well, let me show you. I'll show you the thumbnail because I don't have to keep it a secret or nothing now. So the thumbnail, it'll give you an idea. Let's see, and I'll give you a quick preview of my thoughts on the concept. It's something to the effect of, can math save democracy or fix democracy or something to that effect. Now, as you all know, I hate math and I'm not a political scientist, so I might be biting off more than I can chew with this one. But I am here to learn, purportedly. So I guess we'll find out tonight. Can math fix democracy? I don't know. Find out with me, and somehow we'll know. And knowing is a constant source of disappointment. I just wanted... I made this graphic a long time ago, and I never get to use it for anything. And I just want to have an excuse to use it more. So, there you go. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. A couple more hellos here before I completely disappear. Shards of words. Oh, shit. I suppose. Who else is here? I said just another guy. John Trioxin. Dexter's Killer Lab. Josh Hammond, did I already say hello? Hello. Mr. X 51. And I think that's everybody. Again, if I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, good morning. Sorry you missed the show if you missed it. Otherwise, rewind. You can find out what happened. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. And with that, I hope you all have a good rest of your Thursday. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.